Folks, welcome to Kick Weekly with Tim Wheaton, the show where we are constantly improving, changing the set, and trying to get a little sun in our life. Today, I thought I would meet you here in the front room because I get a little bit of sunlight in this room, and it's been a month here in Edinburgh without a single drop of sun. And now we finally get clear, sunny days, and I thought, let's do a podcast in the sun today, like a cool college professor meeting his students out in the field rather than in the dusty old classroom. So folks, I'm on a little different microphone and camera setup today, and a little bit of a slow week here in kickboxing and Muay Thai. We got a few different PED suspensions going on. We got a Rico Verhoeven rumor fight news against someone pretty major, by the way. And then we also have a Tessa de Kom story going on. So I want to start with this spinning back kick flying knockout that just happened in Muay Thai. And I have seen it go viral on Instagram, Twitter, and on Reddit. And on every single one of those, I will go in the comments and ask, hey, who is that name? Now, I know the guy is in Max Muay Thai. And when typically we get results for Muay Thai fights in Stadium Muay Thai from MuayThai2000.com. But even with all that information, knowing the result, Max Muay Thai, MuayThai2000.com, I still can't find the name of this gentleman. So I'm playing it on screen right now. He's a young man in Muay Thai, got a spinning back knockout win in Muay Thai. Please, someone in the comments, smarter than me, tell me who this guy's name is. Whether it's in English or Thai script, maybe it's easier in Thai script so I can actually look him up and get some more information. But please, someone help me. I am struggling here. Who is this gentleman's name? All right, now let's get to the news that everyone wants to get to talk about. A little bit of rumor mill coming out just this morning. It's just putting puzzle pieces together here. There's not a picture, there's not a completed puzzle, but what do you folks think if Rico Verhoeven and Francis Ngannou were to fight? I'm just trying to get a temperature check on this one, you know? If these two behemoths, heavyweight kings, were to fight. Now, both of these men I've interviewed, I've spent time with them. So when I talk about this fight, I would think that I'm a little bit not biased. All I really like is amazing, incredible fights. So this fight has the potential. Each man has competed in professional boxing, MMA, and kickboxing to various degrees. Rico Verhoeven, if you're listening to the show, you really don't need a background on this man and his experience in kickboxing, but he has spent the last 10 years clearing out the entire heavyweight division in kickboxing. He has beaten past generation when he beat people like Peter Arts and these types. He's beaten the current generation when he beat people like, your Badr Haris and people like this. And then he's also beat the next generation coming up with Levi Rigters and Kuki Toriko Saro. So he has defeated generation after generation of great kickboxers. And then in that mix, there would have been many, many great heavyweight champions, but they unfortunately competed at the same time as Rico Verhoeven, and he left no other space on the throne. Now, he does have a little bit of experience in MMA, as in one professional fight, and he won. Cool. Very fun. His skills can certainly translate to MMA. Wrestling and that sort of stuff, it's a completely different game, and I don't think at his age, going to easily pick it up. Boxing, his skills translate very well to boxing. He has a vault-like high guard. He has active feinting. He has a very good combination work on the feet. He has very good clinch game, very good footwork. He is surprisingly fast for a man of his size. Experience in boxing, and he also has some wins in professional boxing as well. Not an extensive career. Francis Ngannou, let's talk about him. An extensive career in mixed martial arts, but before he was in MMA, he had one kickboxing fight. I asked him about it. He said his skills were absolutely awful. They gave him this was in Perpignan, France, and I think his trainers were looking at him. He wanted to go into professional boxing because coming from Cameroon, that's what he knew. He said, I know boxing and I would like to do boxing. And his trainers looked at him and looked at his skill set. A little bit older. Boxing has a very high barrier to entry. Better to start in kickboxing, and if you really want to make money, go into MMA. So that's what they did. One kickboxing fight, get a little bit of experience, won it, and then went into MMA afterwards. Within a few years of training, within a few years of competing in the UFC, he had picked up a heavyweight title by way of knockout. And then he left the UFC, picked up another heavyweight title in the PFL, took on 2 boxing fights against heavyweight boxing royalty Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, did very well in those fights, much better than anyone was expecting, did very well in the clinch, and struggled a little bit at distance. But regardless, he's hanging out with heavyweight royalty here. So where is the neutral ground here? I don't know if you do, a Rodtang versus Demetrius Johnson, 1 round X, 1 round Y. I don't know if that's fun. I don't think that's what, based on the conversations that I've had with some people in the know, I don't think that's what these organizations are into doing. I think if they were to do this fight, MMA would be too much Francis Ngannou, kickboxing would be too much Rico Verhoeven. I would expect that this fight would go down in professional boxing, where, each man has a few advantages, each man has a few disadvantages based on their skill set, and it almost feels like a neutral ground for both men. Right? One is almost an all-time great in MMA. One is an all-time great in kickboxing. Both have experience in the other's MMA and kickboxing. But boxing is where they're both almost have the same amount of professional fights, to be honest. I think both have 2 professional fights or something like that. So let me know what you think down in the comments. This is just mainly a temperature check to keep an eye on. What do you think? Who do you have winning the fight? Would you tune into that fight? Would it be in Saudi Arabia? Would it be in the Netherlands? Would it be in Paris, France? I don't know. You tell me. What do you folks think? Kiamran Nabati and Ferrari Fairtex have both been suspended over PED suspensions. They fought each other a few months ago, and both have tested positive for multiple PEDs in their system. When it comes to kickboxing and Muay Thai, these things are pretty ubiquitous, in that they're often in states where there's not incredible drug testing. A lot of fighters might go from country A, where there is drug testing, to country B, where there is no drug testing. I'm almost saying too much here. Sometimes you catch a fighter, like, well, why did you take your entire team from country A to country B when you're fighting in country A and your entire team is from country A? The only reason to do that is because country B maybe doesn't have drug testing agents like USADA or someone like that. Anyway, surprise drug testing on this one championship fight. Both guys popped. I think Nabati had tested positive in IFMA a few months earlier for, 2 or 3 banned substances. And then in one championship, he got in trouble with 2 or 3 banned substances in his system. But within 6 months, this guy popped for 5 banned substances across varying governing bodies, and Ferrari Fairtex, similar, tested positive for 2 banned substances in his system. And I don't know. Look, I'm of 2 minds when it comes to PED usage, and I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer. But look, as Luke Thomas had talked about, PED usage, banning it does not do anything. That does not prevent the problem. People will always find a way to get an advantage. And when you ban all PEDs in a sport, what you find happens is that the very wealthy athletes will find better workarounds to get better PEDs. And then the lower down athletes need to keep up with them, so they will use cheaper performance-enhancing drugs. So the guys at the top will have designer stuff where the testers don't even know what they're testing for, kind of thing, right? And USADA has always said that we're 1 step behind cheaters because we don't even know what we're looking for half the time. We've never even heard of half the stuff. And that's why information can be so valuable to them. But what that causes is a situation where if you are a lower down athlete and you need to compete at the higher level, just to get at the same level as those other guys, you need an illegal edge. But you can't afford the really good stuff, so you have to rely on the bad stuff they do actively test for. When I say the bad stuff, it's good stuff, but they know what it is. It's like what the Soviets would have used, trenbolone and these kinds of things that are very easily discoverable. So you get punished for just trying to keep up with people, in the same division as you, people in the same career as you, that sort of thing. And that's the real issue, is that it's still, by banning PEDs, you want everyone on an even playing field. But what ends up happening is the playing field ends up being skewed anyway to the very rich people at the top who can afford the better stuff. The other side of it is that with performance-enhancing drugs, we are not talking about baseball where we're hitting a ball further away. We're not talking about basketball where we're running faster or have better cardio in football or something like that, where maybe we get tired after 20 minutes, but now we get tired after 2 hours. In fighting, what we're talking about is hitting a human skull harder. You can do damage to a person's you can do a permanent damage to a person's body that they can't recover from, and you can do permanent damage to a person's brain that they can't recover from as well. However, flipping the script again, the other side of it is that we love the K1 golden age and the Kokataki boom of Japan, Pride and K1 were the biggest shows on earth, with basically just a heavyweight and light heavyweight division for a few years. And those guys were amazing. We still talk about those heavyweights being better than today's heavyweights. And now I'm not talking about kickboxing exclusively, I'm talking about MMA as well. If you look at the UFC's heavyweight division, go compare it to Pride's heavyweight division. Go compare it to even the early 2010 heavyweight division, what that looked like before they really brought in drug testing. Heavyweight kickboxing, take a look at it. Rico Verhoeven is the exception to the rule, but take a look at all those amazing cast of characters that we used to have in K1 kickboxing, where there was like 10 really amazing fighters and then another 10 quite good fighters just to make it interesting. Any middle of the road K1 kickboxer during the golden age would be kind of amazing in today's heavyweight sphere. Now, I love the 32-man tournament and I'm really excited for it. But what I'm saying is that at the time that there wasn't any testing, the heavyweight division was just incredible. It was just amazing. And I hate to be that guy, but my God, those heavyweights used to be good. All these kinds of guys who were just so flippin' good. Anyway, so on one side, I don't really know what the right answer is when it comes to PEDs. Either let them all juice, so they're all super dangerous and we get great fights and no one has an advantage, or actually do testing so that no one has an advantage, but maybe the fights aren't as amazing as they once were. I don't know. I don't have a hard opinion. And if you are a person out there who is staunchly for PED usage or very against PED usage, I'm not going to argue with you because you're probably right. That's a really good point, and it's a nuanced, interesting topic that I could know more about. Some major news in the kicky world. Tyrone Spong is coming back. He's going to take on the Karate Combat Heavyweight Champion, Sam Alvey. Now, a couple interesting things here. Sam Alvey set the record in the UFC for longest losing streak, I believe. And then he switched over to Karate Combat, won their heavyweight title. He won their heavyweight title and then defended it. So he's looking pretty good in Karate Combat there. And then they bring in Tyrone Spong, who is a heavyweight slugger. Now, he's on the smaller side, but he was competing against heavyweights for most of his career. And he also was just recently a top 10 boxer for a few years there. He was making a really successful run in professional boxing, which is highly, highly competitive. Spong, of course, is all around a really impressive fighter. Inside punching, really incredible combination kicks. Now, he had fought Gokhan Saki, I believe in the finals of a tournament, through a low kick. Low kick was checked and broke his shin. And he hasn't fought since. So a lot of people do question the mentality of him. Is he quite scared to throw kicks? I don't entirely know. He went into professional boxing and did very well there. So for the last 10 years or so, even if he wasn't active in kickboxing, he has been really active in fighting. He has been very active in professional boxing. How that will translate to Karate Combat, I don't entirely know. And I don't know where he is in his age journey kind of thing. How weathered he is after already having a lengthy career in kickboxing, and then a lengthy career in heavyweight boxing, now coming in against Sam Alvey. I don't know entirely where he is in his age, in his wear and tear. However, if we just assume both guys are in their prime and what that looks like, Tyrone Spong should win, right? So I'm thinking even a weathered, an aged Tyrone Spong, let's say he's at 50% of what he once was, should be able to take on Sam Alvey and pick up a Karate Combat heavyweight title. Now, folks, let's jump into the next topic that I really wanted to talk about, and that's my best friend, Tessa de Kom. Now, she was the first fighter that I sponsored. I went on to sponsor other fighters after Tessa de Kom, and here's the thing. Working with Tessa de Kom and her team, they are absolutely awesome. She started extremely young in kickboxing and simply fell in love with the sport and fell in love with the process of working out, exercising, And that's when you know you can create a great fighter, because a lot of great fighters, there are a lot of fighters who are incredible naturally or have very good motivation for small periods. It's the people who are successful are the ones that are disciplined, who fall in love with training, because your 9 to 5 is in the gym. And then she went into Infusion, won a world title there. And then she went overseas to Japan, picked up a world title there, #1 in her weight class. And then she finally finished school. So basically her entire kickboxing career, she has not been able to kickbox full time because she was in university. Now she is finished with her degree. She took her exams. I think her exams last year were on the same week as her title fight overseas, which is insane. She defeated Arina Kobayashi, who was my fighter of the year for 2023, and made her look like she was a step behind. But yeah, her development has just been incredible. Her team has sent me a video to watch on air. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to watch it on air and talk through it a little bit, but I'm going to put the link down below for Tessa de Kom's YouTube channel and this video, because I want you folks to go subscribe to her YouTube channel and watch the video and support them. But I'm going to watch the video on air. So audio listeners, just enjoy it. We're just along for the ride. Rise and Reign of a Champion, Tessa de Kom. This was a few years back, 2023, Kurikan Hall, the legendary Kurikan Hall. This is when Tessa de Kom was taking on Minazo Kobayashi. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. This fight, Minazo Kobayashi was the champion for quite a few years, and she was also the champion they brought in to fight when they did their Rise versus Glory champion versus champion. Minazo Kobayashi was their person. So I think Rise was very much expecting this to be a pretty easy win for Minazo Kobayashi. And then Tessa de Kom put on one of the best performances of her career. Unanimous decision win, scored a knockdown in that fight. Really, really great fight to watch. And at this point, she's getting the win over the champion, over the person who's competed at the highest level in both Rise and Glory. She was still a student in university at this time. Picked up the title, and then they do the cool ceremony as they often do in Japan. It's like you're getting sworn in kind of thing. There's also the column on warriorcode.com, which is run by Remy Bonyaski. Champion! This was Arina Kobayashi calling her out, because Arina Kobayashi would be going up in weight quite significantly to take on Tessa de Kom. And Arina Kobayashi is an incredible fighter. Training in the gym here. Again, a person who had fallen in love with the process of training, disciplined every day. Not just natural talent, not just motivation when you need it, someone who is in the gym at all times. So you can see the size of it. As great as Arina Kobayashi is, she was smaller in this fight.
Yes, I think she's at the moment the best challenger for me. She's a very good opponent. I think she's a very strong boxer. But I don't know what is better than me. I think we will see tomorrow who's the best at which technique. I wish her good luck with knocking me out. Nobody did it before, so I don't think she will do it as well. And I don't have an expectation about the fight. I prepared for 5 rounds. I'm ready for 5 rounds. I'm ready for 1 round, for 2. It doesn't matter. I'll just fight. I'm good. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Power. Power. Yeah, it will be a power fight. Thank you.
This is full-time training. She wasn't a university student at the time of this fight. And I mean, we're going to watch it here, but it wasn't a particularly close fight. Tessa de Kom danced circles around Arina Kobayashi. Incredible, incredible, career-defining performance. Champion versus champion, and it was a career-defining performance. Incredible. Look at that combination work. High, low. That was high, low, knees, low kicks. Oh, just absolutely awesome. Body punches are still underutilized in kickboxing. Look at those knees and kicks. Gorgeous work. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Combination work. Oh, lead hand work. Beautiful. Right down the pipe. Combination kicks. Low kicks into high punches, into low punches. Come on, look at this. Look at this match. This is so good. Keeping the distance, but then has the knee on the inside. Combination punching, trading with someone as powerful as Arina Kobayashi. Bam, look at that. Beautiful cross. Bam, bam. Oh, just incredible work. Stance switch there as well, working on the inside. Incredible clinch work. Completely outpunched her opponent. Inside, outside, cardio wise, like the best win of her career. Gorgeous. Gorgeous work. Gorgeous knees into upper side punching. Had figured out the game by this point of what Arina Kobayashi was trying to do. And Arina simply was unable to get any offense off as the fight wore on. Tessa de Kom had done the reads and really just had every advantage by the end. Fighting a smaller opponent, she was still faster than Arina Kobayashi. Obviously, a little bit bigger and more power, but the speed advantage was clear, and that's incredibly surprising. Oof, beautiful work. Yeah. Doesn't know she's won. Career defining performance. I've interviewed Tessa de Kom as well. And one thing that everyone's always curious about, especially when there are divisions like there is in kickboxing, where there's not like 100 people that you can quickly find.
Okay, thank you to all my training partners. Special thanks to my trainer. Without her, I wasn't there. Thank you, Dave, for arranging the fight. And of course, all my partners I trained with, I sparred with. Thank you so much. Also, thank you, Rico-san, for inviting me again. And for everything. Thank you.
Awesome. Incredible. At the time, I had asked her about going up in weight to face someone like Tiffany Van Soest. By the way, I met Tiffany Van Soest at a McDonald's once, funnily enough. She's awesome. A huge fan of Tiffany Van Soest. She is retired now, but at the time we were talking about going up in weight, and she said, no, Tiffany is way bigger than me. I don't know if I would want to do that. So the question with Tessa de Kom now, and maybe let her know, you can comment on the video of who you want to see next. Because everyone in Rise, she's pretty much beat at this point. She's cleared out the division in Rise. Unless she takes some very easy fights over people who maybe don't deserve it. Like I've talked about Melty Kira quite a bit. Melty Kira is in that division and would be a very, very easy win for Tessa. But also,
She's a really good fighter. She's really strong. And yeah, she made it. Without her, it wasn't such a good fight. So I'm really happy I fought against her. She didn't really hurt me. Some punches I felt on my body, but it wasn't like I wasn't pain. I really want to fight more in Rise. I really like the organization. There are a lot of good fighters, so I want to be a part of it. Yeah. I feel really good about the fight. It was a good fight. I started other leg in front. It was a bit of a risk, but we wanted to take it, and it worked. Yeah, and it was a hard fight, but yeah, I like it.
yeah, so what's next for Tessa de Kom? This is what I was getting at. Fighting in a few weeks, April 12th, Infusion title. But it is a question, does she go up in weight to face someone and try to avenge a loss to, say, Sana or someone like that? Or I think the ideal candidate, of course, would be Saho, in the K1 champion in her weight class. Rise and K1 have been working together a lot more recently. And like we had Miyu versus Kyoki Miyazaki last year, and that was female champion versus female champion. Can we get Tessa de Kom versus Saho? I hope so. I would absolutely love that. I think that'd be awesome. But if that's not an option, who would you want to see her against? Going up in weight against a Sarah Musadak or someone like that? Sana, or defend against someone in her division like a Melty Kira. Now, the reason Melty Kira comes up is because Melty, again, that's a very easy win for Tessa. But Melty Kira gets a lot of eyes on the sport. Her being a very interesting, very popular hostess. She gets front page in the newspaper. She shows up with her custom champagne bottles, has a big following on Instagram and social media. So maybe that's an interesting fight just to get Tessa an easy win, get a lot of eyes on this star. But yeah, that's not a competitive close fight. Also, folks, this is the podcast where it's almost always a work in progress, you know, like from where we began to where we are now. A few years ago, I did my first interview against a Bellator heavyweight fighter, and he was making his professional debut. It was my debut interviewing. I had a headset and talking into a webcam, didn't even have a ring light. The era of dork talking into a webcam is long gone. You do need a better setup. And slowly over time, I've been adding to my collection. All right, I got line mics, I've got lapel mics, I've got high quality mics that I use for different things. I've got different lighting setups now. I have 2 different DSLR cameras with multiple lenses. And the reason I say this, look at this film, look at this. This was a quick at-home setup. And the reason I bring this up is because if you need some filming done, folks, I got the setup. Let me know. I am down to come wherever you are in the world. I'll come film you. We can do a documentary style format. Thing is that all these things happen in this career, not because I have a journalistic background, and I know for broadcast filming, we'll need X, Y, and Z. For journalism, we're going to need X, Y, and Z. Everything has always come that I'll watch something on YouTube, or someone will ask me to do something, and I think I can do that. That's no problem. I can set that up. Right? So we got some guys down in London who wanted some filming done. I thought, I already have the setup. I got the lenses. I got, the lighting and stuff like that. Maybe I just need this thing, and then we're good to go. Maybe it's just a matter of doing it. So let me know, what I should do with this sweet ass setup. I got this sweet lighting setup now. And yeah, let me know. Anyway, folks, this was a slap together episode, slow week in kickboxing. Let me know what you think of, Rico Verhoeven versus Francis Ngannou in boxing. Let me know what's next for Tessa de Kom, and let me know what you think of PEDs. I know it's not an easy answer, but folks, I massively appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. Kick Weekly with Tim Wheaton. I am back next week. I am in Octagon in Germany this weekend, and then I'm back next week, and then we'll be at the UFC the week after. So the week after is the one I'm not sure about. But next week, I'll definitely be back. Folks, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.